Hi, if you look at my kitchen now, you'll see a few ingredients on my table, which I never dreamt I'll be doing this here in America and not in my kitchen in Aleppo. And I will explain to you why this is amazing, because in Aleppo everybody knows how to make karabeej. I mean the ladies, I'm not talking about the men evidently. I was born in Damascus and raised in the Middle East everywhere, but I never heard about the karabeej per se and the Maamoul in other towns, especially not in my family's room. But when I came to Aleppo, my dear sister-in-law made me taste the karabeej for the first time, and I fell in love with them, and I wanted to learn how to. She said, you don't need to, all the desserts are on me, I have my help. She comes weekly, she makes all the desserts of all kinds, and this is the main ingredients in this town. The Maamoul is basically a concoction of semolina flour, which is called also durum wheat flour, and also in Italian farina. And farina is the way it is sold at Fred Meyer here in Vancouver, Washington. But if you want the real thing, you need to get the Lebanese semolina flour to get the real result of a good Maamoul. Why did I suddenly try to learn how to do it? It's because my dear granddaughter Mia and her friend Kia decided they wanted to learn how to make cookies, which, it's a long story, we did not end up doing it, but Grandma, in order to teach them how to, had to learn before she teaches. So Grandma is me, of course, and I went to YouTube and found zillions of people, every kind of chef, Lebanese or Syrian, was making them. All the nice ladies also put their own recipes, because my own sister-in-law was out of the United States at that time, so I could not talk to her in San Francisco where she was visiting. So by the end, I found my own concoctions, my own ways, and what I like to do. Every chef or cook likes to use their own ways, their preferences basically. And luckily it was a very successful batch, and my son Gabby, who lives here, around here, gave me his thumbs up because he loved it. He came, so instead of seeing him once a month, I would see him day in, day out. He comes and nibbles on those concoctions. Anyway, the Maamoul is basically a butter and semolina flour dough, and then the recipe will follow, because I'm gonna work in front of you on this camera that is in front of me and show you what I'm doing. And karabeej is basically the same dough cut in half, but you don't, but it has to rest in the fridge overnight or chill at least 6 hours, and I don't have this kind of patience. So, but I had to, because this is, otherwise I would not have any good dough. I will chill my, this is now about 7:30 at night, and I am now preparing the dough. And if I cut it in half, I can make also some karabeej, which is the half of the dough. But these two are not any different in consistency except for the shape. And I have tools for them. Tomorrow when I get this dough from the fridge, I will be using those tools to make both Maamoul and karabeej. It is basically semolina, butter, flour, salt, and some what they call mahleb. It's Turkish grains that are flavorful in all the baking dishes, especially in Turkey. And mistika, if you have it, that is what they put in chewing gums. That is Arabic gum, that you put to hold it together, and some dry yeast, and some milk, fresh or dry, you know, milk, and sugar, and like is the semolina, which is called farina in Italian, and it could be found anywhere in any supermarket. But if you want a good result, a delicious maamoul, it has to be the Lebanese one here, the farina, which is called basically farcha, smeed na'im in Arabic. It's called farcha. That is #1 semolina. What is semolina? Semolina is the durum wheat, or the nucleus of the wheat. This has a lot of protein, and it works very well for all the Middle Eastern desserts. So I will be using 3 cups of the what I call farina or semolina. Here I'm pouring, and I heard many people object. My sister-in-law doesn't like to put flour, my best friend likes to. I use the flour and it will hold it together very nicely, it's not gonna hurt. And here's the flour. I usually like this brand of flour, all-purpose flour. Put it there, and then you add to this. This is now, we already used the first 2 ingredients of this recipe. The 3rd ingredient is the butter, 2 sticks of butter, and I prefer the Tillamook brand. Okay, again, I was trying to chop my butter. As I mentioned, it's 2 sticks of butter, and I am cubing them so they will be easier to process in the processor. The semolina, the butter, the flour, and now I'm putting it back in place sturdily using the cookie mixer, and I will be mixing just for a very short while on medium speed. So 2 is good, not to raise it. Number 3 is no good. Number 2 is good. And so I don't know how much it looks like it's crumbling like this. The consistency is already wonderful. It is like pea-size crumbles here. But I am all at the same time testing to see if there are some butter squares that did not incorporate in my dough. Sent me a helper. This is beautiful Beth here, who is visiting. She wanted to try hands-on to see the feeling of the crumbly dough, and she's gonna pour it in my bowl. I still can find some pieces of butter, but I don't know whether it is a big thing or a small thing. Or should I cover only the top? I don't know. Or should I have used a bigger bowl, you think? I don't know. So this is a brush. For you, I meant to see not everything has to be recorded, but I don't have to oil my hands, and I always use my brushes to handle so I don't overdo my oil. Drinks it like water. This is going now to be covered and refrigerated to sleep overnight.
I can't wait to make those tomorrow. And
well, if you weren't by my side, I wouldn't be so sure. At my last segment yesterday, before ending the day, we prepared the dough, and we put it in the fridge to chill overnight. If you recall, we had used 2 sticks of butter, and butter hardens in a refrigerator. So it came to this morning when we started to decide to work, we found that our dough had hardened so much. So don't be scared if you find it hard. I could take it out of the old bowl and microwave it for about 20 seconds in the microwave, and it came back the way I want it. The crumbles are like size of a pea, and it is still now on with hold, because we're gonna Bess and I, my good help and assistant and best friend in the world, okay, she's gonna help me with the filling, because with no filling there is no Maamoul. So she is now starting with the grinding the ingredients, many ingredients that need to be ground for the dough, and then she's gonna follow it up by grinding the other ingredients for the filling. I was lucky to find dates which were already prepared that we will cut in pieces and use for. So now we're done with this. As soon as she put a quarter of a spoon of mystica, which she ground it already, and this mahlab is already ground, but I want her to add it to the mystica. Okay, now we came to the stage of adding those mystica and mahlab to the dough mix, and this is the sweet, peeled, roasted, unsalted, yummy. They call it yummy. The people at nuts.com.
But I must say that I used two different techniques. The
Yes.
first one I was pounding them like this.
Oh my goodness.
And then
somebody would dance to it.
Somebody, Imad instructed me how to best do it. And the best way to do it is actually to get on the floor and put a few at a time and then crush them with your body weight.
Take
like
all
that.
your frustrations on it,
Yes.
right?
And
Okay.
then you get beautiful powdered
Great.
and small chunks of pistachio.
Not totally precise, just about half a teaspoon.
Into the
Into the mix.
Yeah.
Don't mix anything yet. I want to taste every flavor. We're gonna have to add at the end some butter also, so every flavor should not overwhelm the other.
okay.
And one ace of cloves.
1/8.
With
This is the
aroma.
rose water. This one is the orange blossom.
And they are from Lebanon. These are the original ones. You can find rose water from France, from America here in Rose Garden, but I'm going to sneeze with the flavors. That is the truth. It is, all these spices are itching my nose, so, but it is a good itch and a good smell.
We're
And
gonna
this
put
is what
half and half.
half and half. You got it. Oh, yeah, you will do it a little more with the butter. It will help you more. Makes it smooth and nice. Don't overdo anything. We can always use our hands at the end when we start, using it. Now our filling is ready. It will rest and absorb all the spices and will be absorbed and oiled with this butter. So now that the filling is ready, as you can see, with the beautiful hands of Beth, she had put all the spices, she put the butter and mixed it very well. And Ahmad also helped with the grinding, so it will have a good consistency. We're gonna have to use, maybe or maybe not, if we decide to use dates, because some people make the Maamoul with different fillings, almonds, walnuts, mixtures with pistachio or pistachio alone, and also there is the date filling. We talked about it, and now today it is ready, peanut size crumbles, and you'll use 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Put in the middle. We'll mix everything later. No mixing now. We already put the sahlab and the mahlab, I think, here, didn't we? Yeah, as a reminder. And the mahlab and the mystica. And now we need to use some dry yeast, about 1 teaspoon of dry yeast, baking yeast, the yeast that you use usually with Arabic bread, with even American bread. Just put it in a minute. Yeah, it's good to sprinkle to make it easier, but we're gonna work so hard on mixing that dough that it doesn't make too much difference, but it is a good idea. So let's put it on the side so we won't double it. Again, we need 1 cup of milk, which here it is, to have a real dough. This milk will make it a real dough. And then please use 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. granulated sugar, the one that you use usually, white, not the other kinds. 1.5. Great, that is wonderful. And then we have to start mixing this, and if you please do that to make it in a dough consistency. Now Beth has kneaded the most beautiful dough, and she's gonna oil it with this. Welcome back. I'm glad that there is somebody watching us, and I hope that the good Lord is watching over us so we can get through this. And thank you for joining us again, Beth. Without you, I couldn't have done it today. And I hope that Imad will be able to help us in the end. This is the moment of truth. I think we have the most beautiful dough, the greatest filling, and we're gonna try to use our imagination as much as possible and start baking. As you can see, we have the baking dishes there, our molds ready. We are planning to make Maamoul, both kinds of fillings, the pistachio and the dates we talked about before, and as also the same kind of dough will be used for the karabish, the famous Aleppo karabish, karabish halab, with the marshmallow in America. This is a variation on a theme of natif, which is the marshmallow made a whole day's work. God bless America. And we are using the marshmallow from Kraft Company and sprinkling with powdered sugar. And this is usually made twice a year, Easter and Christmas mostly. The Maamoul is for all celebrations, Ramadan mainly, and Al-Adha and Ramadan and all the festivals, the Nabi Muhammad festivities, his birth, his everything. On the Christian side, we will do the Maamoul, and my mold has a cross in it that is specially made for Easter, and this is made of wooden cut from an olive tree in Bethlehem. So now, Beth, I'm gonna let Beth say something before we start working, because I'm really anxious to start working.
Well, welcome back too, and I'm so excited to learn this wonderful technique and this cookie that I have eaten before, but I never imagined I would be making them.
Well, I ate it all my life in Aleppo. My good sister-in-law, Claude, has made it for me, always spared me doing any effort in making dessert. I'm going to start experimenting with making this dough. What I do is making it like a big bowl, cupping it in my hand, cupping it in my hand, making a hole in the middle. But that's how traditionally I make it. I'm an experienced cookie maker, and I turn it over my finger, whether it's the middle or the thumb, whichever finger feels right, and I thin it and make it very thin, like a coffee cup or whatever you want to call it, and then I work with the filling here and try to use my hands. Some people use spoon. I don't care, however you want it. If you want to use a spoon best, you can get yourself a little spoon later on, as I finishing one and demonstrating to you how it was done. Okay, I try to fill it as much as possible and close it. So I close, made it into a bowl after I filled it and made a football of it. Now I push as much as possible because I want that design on the mold to show and to hold the filling in place. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed because this is the first time in this new venture. And then I will tap it. You see it? Do you see what I have done? If you want, you can cut some of it, like you make a kibbe football. That's what the Americans call our kibbe, footballs, little footballs. But as you reach this stage, you turn it to the shape of a ball in your hands like this to even the filling inside it, and then you transfer it to the mold. I'm gonna have to finish my mold quickly to give room to Bess to put her own and make her own. And I push and push and push to get all the design that is inside on the bottom and on the borders of this. And my dough is melting in my hands. It has butter and the weather is muggy, so it's not the best feeling for a baker.
Well, as you can see, we are making progress with our Maamouls. We have made 4. The first one didn't come out as well, but now with some oiling of the cookie
Mold.
maker mold, it has now been easier to get them out. And the second one, okay, so the next, to make it, you get a round ball of dough, you put it in your hand, and you start shaping it like a football. Make a hole in the middle, then stick it on your index finger and start kneading it downwards and flattening it. And the goal is you're going to make a hole in the middle, a crater, that you will then put the pistachio filling inside. And once it is ready, then kneading it around, hope, not letting it crack. When it's long, then it's ready to insert the pistachio filling, either with your hand or with a spoon.
Don't over.
This one I may have overstuffed, which is fine. Once the football-like shape is ready, you put it back in your hand and you start to roll it into a nice little ball. And the ball you are now going to put on the mold and squish it down with your hand, especially so that it gets the nice cross shape on it. And then, once you have pressed it hard, you will tap it in a very hard way, and it perfectly comes out.
She's better than both of us.
And here you go. Put them, the Maamoul, if you notice, we put a pistachio on top to distinguish them from the ones made out of date. Now we will put them in the oven.
And that's why probably some bakers have put them on 200 and 200, because it depends on the oven, depends on the plate. This is brand new. I never experienced it in years. So,
And they will cook for how long?
12 minutes.
Hello. We continue with our cookie making, and the next step is we're going to do the same technique, kind of football technique, but we're going to stuff it with date paste. And as you can see, stuff it in there, and then we round it out like a football. Push it in there.
Now I'm so anxious when I get to sit down and have to drink it with my milk or silk, basically, and with a marshmallow on top. Oh my God! I think this is heaven with all the loved ones around me.
Do we put the marshmallow on now or later?
Well, when we start eating, I usually take a little plate, like for a thing for a teacup, and put the marshmallow, drizzle it over the Maamoul, or basically the karabiz. I'd rather have small karabiz with the marshmallow, and think of the old country and reminisce, and hope that soon there will be some better days there that they can be able to do it. But yeah, If you're in a rush, you can do it by hand, like this. When I am alone, I don't take the trouble to put it on a plate, so I just put a little bit, kinda, of the warmed marshmallow and just bite on it like that. So I think the karabiz themselves are very good, but the marshmallow is even better, isn't it? Delicioso, huh?
Delicious.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy, and I hope you learned something from our video and make even better ones than those.
Thank you for
In
teaching
good time.
us.
Thank you. They pulled it out of the handle. I
Oh, it's
still
not
use
milk?
it. It's usable.
Oh.